Hello and welcome to this session. I love to thank you for choosing this session among others, and I hope that you enjoy the story that I'm going to tell you. This is a talk. This is not actually a talk. This is a story about a developer named Darren. He is a very passionate developer. He wanted to do actually a quick application once he was on the way to New York. He wanted to build like very quick Instagram style, gallery style, to share some photos and upload some of the photos, and in fact send it to the to the grandma and other friends, very quickly. He also wanted to learn a bit more about Firebase and like new technologies on the way because he had a lot of time during the flight. And so let me introduce myself before I start very quickly. My name is Majid. I'm based in Oslo, and I am head of DevRel at Invertase. So you can find me by the handler MHA Daily almost everywhere on all social media and on internet. So let me move forward because I have a lot to tell you today. So what has happened? Let's start the story. So Darren was thinking to start building an application that he can share some of the photos privately, and also he wanted to learn some technologies, of course, to his application and share it with some, friends as well as his grandma. So he started searching on internet to find out what is like the quickest way to build this application. He wanted to do web application, maybe some possibilities to turn it to a mobile application or even desktop. So after some research, then he found, he was already kind of familiar with Flutter. He knew that this is a cool technology. He said, maybe I should start building something with that. He also knew Firebase. He was pretty familiar with like how to build and integrate Firebase. In fact, after a little bit of research, he found that there is a CLI for for Flutter SDK or Firebase SDK for Flutter, which names is Flutter Fire CLI, where if you download it from repository, so the Dart repository is pop, and you can run it via pop global activate, the package name. So you will actually be able to generate your project and configure your Flutter and Firebase as quickly as possible. Just a few seconds. But that is awesome. That is exactly what he wanted. And then he added a few other packages that he thought he will need to get access. For example, he wanted like Core, and he needed like maybe Cloud Firestore for database. He wanted to store some data. And of course, uploading pictures requires you to have Firebase storage. So far, so good. So he started quickly building this application. Let's see what he has done. So very simple. He created a project as simple as just running a command line, Flutter create, whatever project you want to give it a name. And well, that's pretty much it. And then you can create your project very quickly. Once the project is created, then the next step is to, as I said, install the Flutter Fire. Let's see after you've done that, then how you can generate or configure, your package. Simply after that, you just need to say Flutter configure, Flutter Fire configure. You'll see a list of Firebase projects. And if you don't have, you can create right away. That's not a problem. You can choose one of your projects from the list and then choose which platforms you want to set up for your application. And then voila, everything else is going to be done behind the scenes. All the connections, everything regarding configurations that you need, which is perfect. This is exactly what he wanted. And he's done that. He said, why not going for Android, iOS, macOS, and web? I mean, Flutter can do that. Why would I skip one of them. So he registered all of them. He finished the setup, and the next things is going to start is pretty simple. After setting up all of these things, so the Flutterfire will take care of creating a file that comes with all of the configuration and add that file to your main project to inject whatever is necessary to boot up your Firebase project. And the file is going to be Firebase options.dart. If you're not familiar with Flutter, that's fine. The point here is not about Flutter and Firebase CLI. It's about the next step. However, this step was necessary for Darren to work on. So as we've seen, the file was generated, and so it was added to the main function for Flutter, and the project was set up. Voila, he's good to go. He's actually now connected an application to Flutter, so he can start building application. With a little bit of knowledge, he knew that, he doesn't want to change anything regarding UIs. The material design that comes, out of the box was pretty enough for him. So therefore, what he wanted to do was actually just leveraging the existing template and add, a few things over there. For example, there was a floating button, and he wanted to add an action on that. Add pictures. So the function is going to look like this. So how is a typical add picture looks like? So in web or on web or in mobile applications, what do you want to do? Think about it. You're gonna have probably a file picker. You need a file picker, right? So in mobile, it will open up the gallery and stuff. In web, you will get access to local files and things like that. And then once you select some files, then you go over each of these files from the file picker, and then you start adding them to Firebase storage. You're uploading now your picture to Firebase storage. Nice. Well, this is exactly what he wanted, of course. And, he added a little bit of extra things here. For example, some metadata. What is the suffix name or meme type and stuff like that. And the next was, now we added these pictures to the Firebase. Well, he wanted to add a reference of this picture to a database collection, a database collection name by photos. So he wanted to add that and also add when it's created and a URL that you receive from Firebase storage after uploading. So far, so good. So he managed to upload pictures as simple as a few lines and add it to the database. And of course, he could now show the pictures on the page. But here is the problem. Everything started from this point, and that the story begins. Well, what if you upload a 10 megabytes picture? Or what if you upload a very big picture and you want to show it? So it's not actually, you can upload that, but, it's not really nice to show, say you have 10 photos uploaded, 100 megabytes just in one view. The performance will be very bad, right? And usually you're going to show a small thumbnail first and then show a big picture or original picture. So the performance will be bad. What he started thinking, what can I do? So, of course, the best thing is to resize the images, but that needs to be done on server. I can't do that on client, at least in Flutter. So then I need to do it in somewhere. So the first thing that he could think about it was, I can write a function in Firebase. A function in Firebase is technically a piece of code that he can write. He can retrieve an image and resize and store it back to the storage, and then store it to the database, and then show that picture. Well, that's a lot of work. I mean, the main purpose of this project was to do it quickly. He doesn't want to do that. A little bit of research, he said, but well, the things that I'm gonna do right now, maybe there should be a better way. Is there any better way? Start Googling, like, let's find out if there is any predefined functions or anything that I can quickly use, or it's anything that is already deployed, or, things like that. So he found Firebase Extensions. Firebase Extensions technically are piece of code or functions that are predefined, configurable, so you can quickly add to your project, and it adds a new feature to your project. For example, you want to resize a picture, but that's exactly what you're looking for. You have resize images. The resize image is one of those extensions where there are a couple of ways that you can install that. You can install it via Firebase command line, where maybe if you're not really familiar with that, just with a button on top, install in console. So I started doing that. So he quickly started clicking on install in console and see what is happening right now. The first thing is happening is that you will choose your project. It redirects you to a page that you can configure this extension. A few parameters, some of them you can leave them alone, but you can add them all to your project. And then you will see that it's coming to under the extensions page in your Firebase project. It takes a few seconds, and once it's set up, you are good to go. You don't need to do right now anything. You have now a new feature in Firebase. You're technically extending Firebase right now. Well, let's see how he managed to show these, pictures. So the first thing he started doing, he wrote a function again. So another function here that is going to show what he's going to do. He's going to just get the path of the, picture. So that's fine. So in fact, whenever you upload a photo right now to Firebase storage, it is actually automatically for you generate a new thumbnails, which you already said which path you want to store it. It's gonna be under thumbnails, and which with which suffix, which is going to be with some like 200 by 200 things. Now he managed to, instead of receiving all large and original photos, to receive thumbnails first and show it quickly. But wait. There is a problem again. So he wanted to share these photos with his, grandmother. And, well, she is not really techie. So she struggled maybe to see some of these pictures and maybe find the website, or how could he even share an app where it's not even yet deployed? I mean, this was a personal project for him. So, well, he said that maybe, the best thing is grandma already has like email. What if I send email? Like whenever I want to share this picture, I send an email to him. Well, wait, there's a problem here. If I want to send an email, then it's a lot of work again. I need to find out the provider, find out the SDKs, and blah, blah, and blah, blah. Well, wait. Let's search on Extension Marketplace. Maybe there is an email extension where I can add to my Firebase project. Well, it is actually already. You have Trigger Email. He found Trigger Email extensions, and he started again installing these extensions via console. A few parameters, though, he needed to add to this extension in order to get that to work. So very simple steps. You need to find out the most important one, the SMTP connection URI. So he said, I don't need any provider or anything. This is a personal project. I can actually use my Gmail. Well, that's fine. He started writing his Gmail URI. He researched a bit on internet. He found, the port, the smtpjm, gmail.com, and also the password. It was pretty simple. In fact, even the password could be created as a secret in Secret Manager in GCP. So pretty safe. That's fine. A few more configuration, simple configuration, and he was done. But how can he trigger an email via an application? The first thing he could do, the simplest, is when you set up in email extensions, you need to say, where is my collection of the email? When you define that, whenever you add a document to that collection in Firestore, that document will be picked up by this extension and will send your email to the recipients. So as simple as that, he said, okay, I'm going to send a URL right now to anyone. So the first thing is I need to find out with Firebase Firestore class which collection I want to send. Well, I already in the configuration, I defined shared photo collections. Fantastic. So then I'm going to add a document. I say, I want to send this email to awesome at blah, blah, whatever email you want to send, the grandma email. And the message is going to be subject and either HTML or text. In an HTML, I can actually add an image tag, which is nice. I will add my URL here. And when I hit this function, it will add that to my shared photos and the email will be sent. All right, he's done everything very quickly and he's proud of himself because he could add the two functionalities that he needed as quickly as possible to Firebase. In fact, he extended Firebase. And that's not all. You can add now messaging, SMS, and use third parties via, Twillio, for example, and so many more things that you can find them in Extensions.dev marketplace. And in fact, the sending SMS is one of those that you probably need to configure for a lot of projects, web or, mobile. And that's similar things to web. When you install that, again, you define your collection, you add these, to your collection. Let's say in this case, you can send a message to grandma and say, hey, grandma, even if you don't check your email, right away, receive my message. And this is going to be a message that you're adding, a document that you're adding to messages that you define in Twillio extensions in Firebase. You add that to a number and send your URL. And voila, that's it. You can send an SMS to everyone via Twillio in Firebase. And even you can send those to WhatsApp because Twillio support that, and as simple as that one. Here is a sneak peek of a log in the documentation. In fact, you can follow up your message ID. You can follow up, whether it's successful or not, and all of these is completely handled out of the box for you. You have full log. So there are many more extensions that you can add to your project and quickly build your application with Firebase. Head on to Extension.dev and take a look at all of the extensions that already are there. So here is a list of a few of these extensions. In fact, my company Invertase has built a few of them, and you can find them also on Extension.dev. Some of them are very useful. For example, delete user data for GDPR purposes and other things like that. And if you want to know more about extensions, because we are writing a lot of documents and articles and making lots of videos about extensions in depth, check out our blogs. We're writing a lot of content for you, and you can subscribe to our newsletter to receive the latest one as you wish. With that said, thank you very much. I'm right on time, and I hope you enjoy your day, rest of the day. I wish you luck. Do not forget to send me your question or anything that you want to ask me via my handler on different social media. I would be happy to answer all of your questions later. Good luck.